Welcome everyone. So now we're on to our third episode in this video series, and we've made our way to our entry system and about to go explore Geminate. So first thing I wanted to do in this episode was to, go over some, out-of-game tools that are going to be quite heavily used during these video series. And probably the most important is going to be .lan. I'll be using .lan in the in-game browser for its wonderful features like the being able to set destinations and that type of thing, and this way you'll also see the information I'm seeing instead of it being off screen. So here we are. We're using the radar function on .lan, so that's going to be tracking our movements and updating our map with our current position. And so first thing we're probably going to want to go to is going to go to sovereignty. And so here's going to be our entry system, and let's see who holds Sov in Geminate. Seems like it's mostly Legion of XX Death. Gosh, and I've just been sitting cloaked on our entry gate for a little while now, and I've seen several people go in. There was a Solar Dominix, an Armageddon, and now we had a Manticore just jump out, so that's odd. This is probably the most traffic I've ever seen on this gate anytime I've been going through this gate. So now let's just check some stats. So I'm going to be, I'm not going to be like +1 with a, throwaway alt to make sure the gates are clear. I'm just going to go for it. And so that should prove to be interesting because one of these times that's going to bite me in the ass and you're going to see me explode, which is going to be quite amusing. But let's check ship kills in the last hour. There was one in our entry. That's not good news for us. Ship kills in 24 hours. You can see this is probably the least camped entry, and so now I just want to kind of see where do we want to explore. So there's been a lot of kills over here, so I think it's worth. I think I'll go down in this pocket as well, see if we can get eyes on the local, see what's up there. So there we go. We got general destination. Let's see how many jumps we have. First, we probably should get our autopilot settings right. So, we're going to do 37 jumps in Geminate, check things out, and then see what we find there. So I've been exploring for about 90 minutes now. Let's take a look at all the things I've bookmarked thus far. Yeah, so 13 SIGs bookmarked. You can see quite a few of those were the new relic sites, and sadly, looks like the loot on the relic sites has been toned down quite a bit than what it previously was, and it's not as good as it used to be on the test server. It's significantly lower. But it's been 90 minutes. I've gotten probably about 300 mil, at least 300 mil worth of drops in 90 minutes. So I guess that's not bad. More than 100 million an hour. So pretty decent money, I would say. So at the 300 million mark, I'd say around 300, 500 million is where I need to start, thinking about how I want to manage my loot. And since I'm in a Tech 2 co-ops, I don't have a nullifier. I've seen some people around recently that have been roaming in like frigs and cruisers. I haven't seen any Hicks or Dicks yet, but there can always be a drag bubble or a Hictor or a Dictor, and Dictors are kind of easy to get away from since their bubbles are so small. So unless it's like a dual bubble Dictor that knows what he's doing, then you'll probably be just fine. And so just want to take a moment on my plan for managing risk and loot. As you can see, we have several small secured containers. So essentially what we're going to do is when we get up to 300 to 500 million worth of items, we're just going to anchor a can into whatever system we happen to be in at the time and bookmark it and come back later and say a nullified T3 or something like that. Now I was going to anchor that right now, but as you can see we have +1 in local. He's not in the He's not in that ship. That's been on V-scan this whole time. Let's see how long it takes to anchor this. Oh my god. I don't have anchor in. Trained. I could have swore I queued that up. For fuck's sake. Well, now I'm in a pickle here. I don't have anchor in. Shit. Now I'm kind of stuck. The big plan was to you know, anchor this can and come back and get it later in like a nullified T3. Since that's not going to work out. Actually, there weren't any bubbles on the way in. There weren't any bubbles at all. So I'm just going to make a mad dash for it back into low sec. Hopefully I don't die. Get anchoring injected, get that skilled up so that in the future we can get this all anchored up and then come back in a more appropriate ship like a nullified T3 to pick it up. Alright, and we're back. So let's check out to see where I'm at this time in Geminate. So I've pretty much explored all of Geminate I wanted to explore. Hit pretty much all these pockets. The one place we haven't really touched yet is this stretch right here where it seems like there's quite a bit of activity in 3 stations in one particular constellation. And the nice dead-end system. Might hit that part real quick just to check out the locals, see if any of them are up. So far, all the locals I've ran into just seem to be AFK in station. Hardly run into anyone in space. But before we go over there, time to take a look at the loot we've grabbed so far. This is my second half loot for the second half of Geminate. This is how much loot I've grabbed. Not too bad. You know, a few 100 mil in ship data interfaces, and then we got decryptors and salvage. Not been having great luck, but you know, I'm probably up to about 500 mil, maybe 600 mil. So we're probably up to maybe 900 mil so far for this whole entire region. Not bad. But since I'm poor, don't have a T3 on this character, or have a Black Ops battleship alt yet, what I'm going to do instead for loot is I'm just going to anchor this secure cannon space. I believe they last for 30 days, so once this gets anchored, it'll be safe and sound for 30 days. I'll be in a T3 on this character within 30 days, so I'll come back in a nullified T3 to pick it up. And eventually I'll get to the point where I'll just have a covert. I'll be exploring in a T3, be able to use a covert Sino, and I'll just be able to bridge a Black Ops battleship alt onto me, and then just give loot to that character and log it out in space and do that type of thing. So I can just have a Black Ops battleship follow me in space for loot. But in the time being, we'll just go ahead and... Alright, we got our first loot cannon in space anchored, almost. About 30 more seconds here. And this is what... These are all the sites all the things we bookmarked. There was plenty more combat sites and wormholes and that type of thing that I didn't bother scanning down. As you can see, there's been quite a few sites. I really like the sig density here. Unlike in a place like Syndicate, it's a real pain in the ass. You hardly find any signatures, but over here in Geminate, I'm finding signatures almost every jump. And most of the systems are pretty empty. There were probably about 6 systems that had locals in it and signatures, and so I didn't even bother scanning those down because I didn't want to risk my ship with locals in space and that type of thing. But yes, looks like it's anchored. Okay. Cool. Alright, so gonna go hit this dead end pocket, and then we'll probably be done with Geminate, and then we'll make our way back towards Veil the Silent, and that's probably going to be our next region, is going to be exploring Veil the Silent. Oh boy, yeah, that's a big region. I look forward to checking that place out. Alright guys, see you in a bit. Hey, hey, oh boy. First time we're meeting someone on a gate, and it's a Saber. So, step 1, make sure you're recording. Important first step, start burning towards the celestial, cloak up. You can see how his bubble is quite small and it's easy to burn out of it. He's not anywhere near me and I'm well outside his bubble. Probably did a bad thing there and warped to an asteroid belt at 0. If he had the forethought to see where I burned towards, he could have warped to that same celestial that I was moving towards and warped to it at 0. See if he got lucky and got a decloak on me and bubble up there. Luckily for me, he didn't. And he burned back for his gate and jumped out while I was in warp to my outbound gate. So, bone dictors, not too big of a problem. It's those freaking Hictors that can really be a pain because their bubble, especially if they're T2 bubbles, are very large and they can move with their bubble up. So, I'm on my way to the Veil of Silent. See you there. So, here we are at our entry system for Veil of Silent. Let's go ahead and just recap Geminate. So, we didn't really run into much of anything. The most we ran into was actually at that dead-end constellation. There was quite a bit of stuff there. The first station system in that dead-end had like 30 people in local in Tango Delta Echo. There's 30 people in local there. Didn't see much in space, but one jump over, they had 2 carriers in space and some other stuff. And then the final system in that dead-end constellation had like 4 Tengus and T2 Logi out. Had no idea what they were doing. Didn't really stick around too much to see what was going on there. Just burned out of that constellation. No SIGs or anything to pick up there since, there was people all over the place. And made our way to where we're at now to get into Veil of Silent. Overall, I think it was pretty good. We got like at least 1 billion ISK out of this region. Wasn't very many people at all. It's pretty nice. I'll probably come back to this region in the future unless I find some really awesome region that's much better than this, but definitely enjoying it. We're averaging more than 150 million S per hour. It's definitely not the greatest in the world of Eve, but you could definitely be doing worse things to make ISK in Eve than running around in a buzzard hacking cans and collect ISK, essentially. Biggest part's just, surviving, getting it out, but as you can see, that's a pretty trivial process, too. So, yeah, I think we're gonna wrap that up here. Geminate, let's get it to us. Hopefully Veil of Silent will be even better. I look forward to it. Hope you guys are, too, and I'll see you next time.